Yeah.
Here's all the Wi-Fi. Yeah, even like.
Yeah, let's go.
Listen, they might be able to think wrong. Well, and like I said, self-destruct. Yeah. Following by.
Oh, I see. One thing about spring, you're no longer around. Like I went over again and like see these people. And then I see what she was doing. Right there. It's good for. Yeah. We start with the song. It could be a hymn or not a hymn. No, it's, I can't, I'm not on that.
She could definitely dance it out. It isn't dancing.
It's probably, I'm gonna get I can't wait for you to hear one you like Travis. I was gonna cry too. I thought it was a weight. I never tried that. Yeah. Why she got a big weight behind her shirt? No, because isn't it like a weight? That would go all day long. Why she got this huge weight?
Somebody was sleeping. That fell asleep.
That's where I get.
I used to know.
Another day.
He was a lot. Yeah,
Good. You have a clicker? Can you just freeze it?
You got
I gotta pull my email off.
I'll freeze it.
Yeah,
Yeah, froze.
Yes.
Okay, good.
How you doing? Is there a,
Have a great day.
is there a time frame you're trying to keep this in?
Good to see you. Hello, how are you? Maloney's in the house. How are you? Good.
Actually, can you unfreeze it
I got you.
for a second? There it is. All right, let me drag that over and you can freeze it again.
Okay. All right. You tell me what to do.
You're good.
Good.
Thank you.
Yep, that's good.
Good, you guys.
All right, shoot, yeah, yeah.
What's that? It's from when my kid was born. Yeah, so it's like, I don't know, she's been out for 5 years now. Something like that.
Sarah and Deb.
Just go, Shaw, you're good.
This is like our normal packet.
What's that?
This is the normal packet. This is something different. She doesn't have to do this for me, she knows it.
All good.
I think just the attachments, so you wouldn't have to print them off.
It's pretty thick. It's everything.
I got
Oh,
Appreciate it.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's good. Sure.
I'm just asking.
That's what I was thinking. That was my idea. I'll take that.
It's everything. She doesn't, she doesn't need to do.
Well, she just is worried that you're going to have something's going to come up and we're not going to actually have that. So, but I can tell her.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe. And like, if you would have a question.
Yeah.
And we were all here all the time, we just want to get it for her. I think she was worried that
Because.
we don't have access right now, so. Yeah. Mr. Richards, we are going to start with you because we have one individual from the board who needs to exit. And I want to make sure your presentation is heard by everyone.
Okay, I put some printouts in front of everybody. Mr. Crowder, I have one left, as long as that works. That's gonna work, you think we're okay?
We don't have everybody at the table yet to get started, but as soon as we do, you're going to be the lead off batter, sir.
I'm making things difficult tonight. I had to get my kids soccer.
That's why I gave a sports reference. Didn't you pick up on that?
I hope it's indoor, because it's raining out.
No, let me go get stuff. It's fine.
Oh, you really are?
Yeah.
We're at the high school.
Yeah, the high school. I'm good.
Yeah, but I told her.
Yeah, I was-
So basically, here.
Need it. You have some other stuff to do first, though, right?
We do. We have to call the meeting to order and all that.
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. You'd like to stand for the pledge of allegiance and the opening prayer. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Roll call.
Mr. Allen?
Here.
Mr. Belsky is absent due to a health-related issue. Mr. Dady?
Here.
Mr. Jordan?
Here.
Mr. McKessick is absent due to a health-related issue. Mrs. Murray? Here. Mr. Pence is absent due to a family matter. Mr. Romsberg?
Here.
Ms. Foggy?
Here.
6 members present, 3 absent.
Okay, the approval of the agenda to include PN 175 and 176.
So, second.
We are adding those 2 motions to the Personnel Negotiations Committee as an addendum. PM 17525 is the following position description be approved. That's the reading and/or math facilitator position. And 17625 it's the hiring of a special education teacher. So both of those are, relatively important, and that's why we have that addendum added for tonight. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And then we'll start with our presentations.
All right, first presentation we have, good evening, everyone, welcome. The first presentation that we have this evening is Mr. Joe Richards is here through 10, the Efficiency Network, and a facility modernization with the Giza project attached to it. Thank you, Mr. Richards, for joining us. We appreciate your time.
No, thank you all. It's good to see a lot of you again. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time for sure. Just recall, I think the last time we were in front of you, I think it was in May or June timeframe. We talked about a couple of options. Since then, we've spent a lot of time exploring those options, plus a couple of recent new ones we're going to talk about tonight. So we'll hop right into this. Feel free to stop me and ask any questions that you have along the way. This could get a little wordy and long, so if we need to speed it up or slow it, just let me know. So to refresh your memory a little bit, some of the expansion options that we look like. kicked off with that west side expansion, some type of K-7 expansion up there in some form or fashion with, if you remember, a huge price tag associated with something like that. So it kind of went back to the drawing board to look at other options, and that's what we've been doing since that early summer timeframe. The first one that we looked at is a Garfield renovation or rehab, kind of two different core options there. One, utilizing the existing middle school along with that. The other one, vacating the existing middle school along with Garfield. And then the newer one that's come up recently is the Crown America building. We'll talk about that, but same thing. Crown America building, also utilizing the existing middle school or vacating the existing middle school. So this is just an existing student breakdown of where they're all housed. So we may refer back to this and you have it in front of you if you need it. You need to see where kids are currently allocated. Go ahead, Les. So here are the two options, and I called the first one the core Garfield option. That would be to vacate the middle school. Second one is to still utilize the existing middle school. And this option here at the bottom of your page is what we think makes the most sense, both financially and functionally for the district. The core there is to move the fourth grade from up the hill at west side down to the middle school. So the middle school will become fourth, fifth, and sixth grade. Move the seventh grade from the existing middle school to Garfield, and move eighth grade, it's all the way down there in the end, move eighth grade from the high school campus to Garfield as well. So you see there at the bottom, I have district admin offices, as well as alt ed over there. Those are relatively minor amounts of students, correct, compared to the body of the whole of a seventh or eighth grade class. So those are things that may kind of come out in the wash, what makes the most sense. So does it in the long run make sense towards the end of your lease or later to move the district admin office over there? Those are things that we could explore later. Does it make sense to move alt ed over there? Those are things that can be explored later. Crown America building, a similar situation. That first option, utilizing the existing middle school, so fourth, fifth, and sixth at the existing middle school, seventh and eighth at the Crown America building. And then this option here, which we'll talk about, which is not very feasible because of building size and square footage, but we have to vacate the existing middle school and put fourth through eighth at the Crown building, or some combination of that, maybe a fifth through eighth. So this first one that we think makes a lot of sense. If you recall, again, this is fourth, fifth, and sixth at the middle school, seventh, eighth, and some combination slush space at Garfield. All these options are to address two common issues, right? The first, overcrowding issues up the hill of Westgate, and to group appropriate student age groups together. There's a lot of good reasons for that are both educational and from a community standpoint that Jeremy knows or has already spoke to the group a lot more in depth than I have. This is one thing that we're going to look at a lot. Reduction or increase in district footprint. Why that's important is because operating costs, especially year after year, compound, right? And they add up to huge amounts of money over 10, 20, 30 years. This option gives an overall reduction in district footprint from 712,000 to 608,000 and about $245,000 in annual O&M reduction. By utilizing the middle school and a portion of Garfield and not vacating any of those core buildings, you retain space for future expansion, right? So in the event that the population increase that you've seen on the lower grades continues up through all the way K through 12, you have space for that. One con is you're going to have some increased transportation and staffing costs. We're going from the 3 core campus locations to an additional core campus location that is factored into some of these the monetary stuff that we're going to look at later. You could consider some of the square foot as underutilized, right? Meaning at Garfield, if Garfield was built to house 800 to 1,200 students, and we put a fraction of that in at 400 to 500, you still incur operating expenses in those unused spaces for heating, basic upkeep, and maintenance. And then some educational resource inefficiencies. Again, going from 3 core locations to 4 could create the possibility of an additional staff needs, 1 or 2 over the years, depending on how you're currently sharing to how you would adjust to that. Any questions on that option and the specific layout from middle school, Park Avenue, we would look to end the lease. Pre-K, we would continue to keep it more out for now, right? The good thing about the additional space at Garfield is you would have the option down the road to maybe look at moving the pre-K over there or doing some kind of swap with maybe one of the lower grades to where pre-K would end up the hill, and you could end that lease down the road as well. Any questions on that option? Okay, so this is the option to vacate the existing middle school and put 4th through 8th over at Garfield. Again, checks the first two boxes for sure, relieving the overcrowding and grouping appropriate student ages. Because you are not adding an additional core location, you have educational resource efficiencies, or you retain some of the same efficiencies. The biggest advantage to this option is your reduction in your district footprint. So from 712,000, if you recall, the previous option was about 608,000 square feet, almost 80,000 square feet less than that with this option. And you see that $930,000 in reduction in annual operating costs. And we'll see on a later slide how $930,000 compounded over time with inflation really adds up to a giant number. To a con, if we're going to look at completely filling Garfield, you're going to have a larger initial cost due to some of the mechanical infrastructure issues over there. And then also selling middle school, we touched on briefly in the last slide that you lose that space, that flex space later on for district expansion needs. Any questions on this? So the next two are the relatively recent option of utilizing the crown space for district admin recently moved to. You can see that you have initial purchase costs associated with it, renovation costs associated with the existing layout. So there's a few major issues there with looking at utilizing that or turning that from office building into a school. First is on mechanical infrastructure. That building is meant to house 200 to 300 people. If you look to put 400, 500 plus, you have major ventilation issues there, which would require basically a complete redo of all the existing mechanical structure. So on that building, each floor has its own individual air handler that's served by a chiller and a boiler system. You would probably be looking at replacing all of that. On top of that, if you look at layout and egress, look at the stairwells, the width of the stairwells, it would not be appropriate to put 400 or 500 students in there just for their daily transfer from floor to floor. They wouldn't be able to utilize the stairwells as is. And so you would basically be looking at a gut or a partial gut of the core areas that you'd be looking to use in that building. And the cost for that could significantly increase. It could skyrocket pretty quickly. Also, on top of that, you have a lack of parking somewhat. There's a garage there that could be utilized. There's no current gymnasium. There's no current cafeteria. You could look at doing a combination gymnasium cafeteria, but that building built roughly 1988. Generally, buildings that age are steel structures that do provide some options for major renovations later. That one was built a little bit unique, and it has very thick concrete supports. Not to say that you couldn't modify it, but it would take a lot to do that. A lot of engineering firms that I've talked to about that location already that we had over there in the last couple of weeks or so, we heard the same thing over and over from my partners that I've talked to and some of the ones that have talked to the district about it, that it would take a major gut, and you really couldn't decide what you're going to do until you did a lot of that demolition, which if we're looking at that first box, we were trying to check that relieving overcrowding issues. What that means is time, right? If we're trying to make some of this transition happen for next fall, so fall of 26, I believe that the options at Crown would take a long time to try to get there. The layout doesn't right now lend itself to flow very well. The restrooms on those floors I think you have 4 receptacles for both male and female on each floor, which would not meet the minimum, so it would require an expansion of existing restroom facilities, plus adding receptacles as well. That's a typo in the core there where it said 3 to 5. It should have been 4, just in case anybody caught that. Apologize. Same thing if you were going to vacate the existing middle school. I'm sorry, Lex, can you go back? You see over there, this option is an increase in district footprint. So we go from the existing 712,000, we add 50 or 60,000 square feet, 50 or 60,000 square feet worth of additional operating cost every year adds up to an additional $320,000 annually, which compounds itself year after year as well. Again, that's going to make, we're making some assumptions there that if you did this, then you would also still hold on to Garfield, or so some of those things could be helped with some real estate transactions, but we've seen over time how easy or how hard that's been to make some of those real estate transactions over the years. Go ahead, Lex, sorry. Same thing, but this is vacating the existing middle school. This helps with the footprint, helps with the operating costs, but the big one here is that building's simply not made for 1,000 students in there. If we looked at 4th through 8th or 5th through 8th, 800 to 1,000 students, that building cannot accommodate that many students, even with a major overhaul. This is not really a viable option. We still have some of the same pros and cons, but because of the space, this is not a real option that we think the district would be able to pursue. Does that make sense? Anything on those 4 options so far that we talked about? Okay. So I looked at this a couple of different ways based on some conversations we had with Les and how you may, one way that you may look to pay for this, right? So we looked at 10-year cost of ownership and 30-year cost of ownership. You see, these are somewhat in order. We didn't go into the specifics of the Westgate option, but I threw some of the numbers up there so you can see it. That's this first column. The second column, utilizing Garfield and the existing middle school. So that's the 7th to 8th grade option at Garfield, 4, 5, 6 at the middle school. The third column, vacate the middle school and put everybody at Garfield. And then the 2 crown options there at the end. We think that, again, utilizing that existing middle school is a preferred option, both financially and functionally. I think that we've laid this out in a 3-phase approach. And the reason is, as I talked about earlier, alleviating that pressure from up on the hill as far as overcrowding, and with the goal of getting kids in Garfield by early next fall, is that you would look at basic initial upgrades to get kids in there, to get Garfield reoccupied. Then you would look at taking it to the next step, right? Getting things finished, working while the kids are in there, right? Which I think you can do when you're only about, call it 40% occupied in that building. And then the final phase would be full MEP and the final renovations, right? To somewhere in the $20 to $25 million range. And again, it's that second column in that we're looking at. And so if you looked at financing 100%, the next column down is your debt service over 10 years. Next slide shows 30 years. This is ran at 4.5% over 10 years. This column, so regardless, if you do nothing, right, you still have upkeep expenses for all your buildings, right? You still have money that you're going to throw at buildings for upgrades and basic upkeep. This is projected for all 5 of these options here in phase 4. And then your O&M cost, this number is based on, if you recall on each slide that showed increase or decrease over the years, at 10 years compounded with a 2.75% inflation rate over 10 years and 30 years. And here's another typo right here, that should be 10. I apologize for that as well. But you can see the bottom line there is that there's a pretty big swing, 40% swing from the lowest to the highest. The Garfield is not only the most financially feasible from a timing perspective, but also gives you the best opportunity to get kids moved for next fall. Any questions on this specifically so far? If you want to show the next one lasts over 30 years, so obviously those numbers just continue to increase when you have inflation over 30 years. And what this slide does a good job of showing, regardless of what option you look at, you're going to spend a lot of money on your buildings over 30 years, right? That adds up significantly. And it's a pretty big swing from the option that we think makes the most sense right now to taking a big swing like the Westgate expansion or Crown. So the Crown building, there is an option there, and it would be to throw a lot of money at it, a lot of money. I mean, you could do anything. You can put a gym or a cafeteria up on the roof, but it takes money, right? Any questions on this specifically? So this is just to dive into that phasing a little bit more for the Garfield option where we utilize the existing middle school. That phase one, and just so we're all on the same page, in order to get kids in there for next fall, the time to move is now, right? And while that's harder to do when you don't have a final design of what you want to do because of some of the options that I already touched on, there are some basic things that we know you have to do to get kids in there now. And that's what that phase one is, a relatively small project of demolition, abatement, some masonry repair. If you've been over there recently, the old original gymnasium has had some water infiltration over the years, it's compromised the wall, some of the flooring down there. So there should be some masonry repair in that corner there to give that some integrity again. And then some long lead time equipment release. And what that is, electrical equipment is hard to get our hands on right now. It'll take a long time. So we've got to look to design and release that right away. And then maybe some of the mechanical equipment, chillers in particular, if that were the route that we're going to go on the MEP side, will probably also need to be released sooner rather than later. And the time frame we would start that, the demolition and the abatement as soon as you'd be able to, right? As soon as we'd be able to get you an amendment for that phase one portion. While we're doing that work on the phase one portion, we'd finalize phase 2 and 3, what those scopes of work would look like. How many kids are we going to put in there? What additional resources from the school are you going to put in there, whether pre-K, alt ed, district admin office? The cost projection for this, I believe, is in the $3 to $5 million range. I think that $5 million is high on this. When we release long lead time equipment, we don't have to contract for the full amount. We can do deposit down on it, and so that can drive that down. Behind the scenes down here, like I said, we would be narrowing the scope of the remainder of the building and then begin that student relocation planning, exactly how that's going to work out. Does that make sense? Okay. The second part and third part of that, I have it up here as 2 additional phases. It could be 3 additional phases. It could be 1 additional phase, depending on what makes the most sense for the district, what makes the most sense both functionally and financially, up to what that would look like after phase 1. Again, to reiterate, we'd be doing that phase 2 and 3 planning while doing the demolition and abatement during phase 1. But we kind of look at it from February until the kids get in there in September, get the classrooms ready, get the restrooms ready, finalize that design. I have an MEP rough in. What that means is you have a 90-year-old building. We would have to run piping and chases in the hallway and the ceiling, in some classrooms, make that safe for kids, put it in, whether it be in bulkheads or drop ceilings, and then kind of step away from it while the kids go in there and work when we can work on other portions of the building. And then that final phase, that could be a lot of different things depending on how the district wants it to go. Especially if you look at the time frame, we're a year from now. And so you could take that as far as you want to playgrounds and a lot of exterior improvements as far as the driveway, parking lot, things like that, windows, some of the more aesthetic things that may not be necessary but might look great, right? The first 2 phases are things that are very necessary. The third phase does include the full mechanical and electrical upgrades. And some of those things are very necessary. But you could definitely consider some things in phase 3 might be aesthetic or extras. And those are things that we kind of hash out over time. Any questions on the phasing? Does that make sense?
Joe, are we looking at first floor, second floor, is that what we're looking at, or didn't you really figure that out?
Well, so I think that you're thinking that we're looking at first, second, and third floor because half of that first floor is admin space, offices. And so generally not relatively as expensive as some of the other spaces. So go ahead and finish the offices out so that you can have admin and support staff over there. The other offices on the hallway floor is only a few labs, right? I think you go ahead and get those knocked out so kids can use those. But yeah, for the most part, first, second, and third floor.
The wing also, or just the main building?
The wing also as well. Yeah, this just dives into the phases a little bit more of what's in there. I think I hit on all these. I'm sorry, can you back up one? So the ramp at the auditorium hallway is not currently within code. That's something that would have to be addressed. It's too steep and too short. It's got to be shallower and longer. The front entrance stairs is something that have to be addressed right away if people are using that on a daily basis. Go ahead. We hit on these classroom renovations, restroom, a basic kitchen cafeteria reno. Not looking to utilize the entire kitchen over there, just being able to prepare other places, transport food over there, places to keep it warm, places to keep it cold. We talked about the rough-in, LED lighting, some exterior doors, some window repair, and then that final design.
Joe, before you, we were talking about satelliting food over there. I think we were talking also of doing it in-house there. Maybe that was our.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and that's the stuff will come out in the wash.
Okay.
Well, while we're working on phase 1 and building these, when I say building phase 2 and 3, designing phase 2 and 3, that stuff will come out in the wash. And then that's just some of the actually you have your core MEP that needs to happen. We talked about the elevator in depth last week when we were over there. We believe we have a good option for that. If you remember the board 7 or 8 years ago when the design for the upgraded elevator situation, if you recall that in your mind, they were going to put a whole new elevator further down into the STEM wing. We think we have a better option, keeping it where it's at, more economical solution to cover that. That'd be part of that third phase. We talked about some of the exterior things and windows and interior doors. Go ahead. Yeah, so I just threw this up here just to kind of jog your memory a little bit, but these spaces back here, the gym, auxiliary gym, are currently being used for extracurricular programs. We would look at very minimal work in those areas. If they're being used now, they can, for the most part, still be used. Would have to add a handicap accessible chairlift here at this set of stairs. This is the ramp I was referring to outside the auditorium that needs to be adjusted. This is from that set of plans in 2017-ish that included your elevator and STEM lab renovations. This shows a new elevator down here. We would look to utilize the existing elevator location right here where it's at, just with some minor, relatively minor modifications at that location. But we would be looking at this entire footprint, not the shaded area, and that will continue up first, second, and third floor. Any questions there? Go ahead. So before we get into this, there are two separate things that are compounded, right? Anything on the Garfield option? Any questions?
Joe, I just would throw out for the board, because I know it's tough when you're talking about these different items and there's no state budget, how are we looking forward and operating costs and things like that. But I always have to remind that floating a bond, you cannot use the bond monies for operational costs, salaries or anything of that nature. It has to be for capital improvement, capital funds. So it's not something we could use for any of the general operations. I only bring that up again because we still don't have a state budget. So you kind of have to separate those two ideas.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was at a meeting last Friday. The executive director from PASBO, who has a direct line to the state House and Senate floor, gave an update on where they are with the budget. They have agreed upon a final number. It's just what's in that final number. She does not expect that to go past December 1st, just an FYI, if you hadn't heard anything contrary to that.
December what?
She was more optimistic than that, but understanding state timelines, the way that she explained it didn't jive with what I was hearing. She thought, hey, it can get passed, and then within 10 days, you'll have to check. And I was like, well, that's not possible, right? So, so she believes it'll get passed within the next 10 days. And then when you get a check after that,
Okay,
who
so
knows?
that's better.
That was my forecast, my interpretation of the forecast.
So
Again, go ahead.
just to make sure reflectively, everybody has heard what's been presented as the most feasible, cost-effective option. That would be moving 7th and 8th grade to the Garfield School, as well as 4th grade would move to the current middle school in Warnerstown. So
Correct.
4th grade would relocate to our current middle school, and 7th and 8th grade, 7th grade currently at the middle school, 8th grade currently at the high school, would then occupy the Garfield School.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And there's kind of a recap here at the very end of kind of what the ask is. We talked about solar with this group before. Again, these are two separate issues. You can do one without the other, certainly. Either way. With the passage of the Big Beautiful Bill and the tax incentives that are associated with renewable energy, installing renewable energy, the executive order from Trump has those tax incentives to fade nearly to zero next year. And what it means is you have to have your project started. And what they mean by started is 5% complete. 5% can be final design. It could be material that's sitting in a warehouse or on site somewhere. It could be shovels in the ground, but it has to be 5% verified by an IRS agent. If you don't have 5% complete by June of next year, your project is not eligible for the full tax incentive. So what that means is you could still certainly do a PPA solar agreement after that. The tax incentives are going to drop significantly, and the cash flow, which is what's in front of you right now, won't look nearly as good. You could just oversimplify it. You could say that it would net about half as much cumulative savings, which is that highlighted number in the bottom right, over a 30-year PPA. Again, not to say that you couldn't do it. It won't ever look better than now. So June of next year sounds like a long time away, right? But both of these options that we're looking at are ground-mounted solar options. When you put solar in the ground, most of Western Pennsylvania considers solar as an impermeable surface, meaning a parking lot, and so the water retention has to be studied the same way as a parking lot. Those studies and permitting processes take a long time, up to 9 months. And so if we had to wait for the permitting process to get your 5%, we are currently right up against it for June, the June timeframe of next year. Again, this is something that can happen separate from the expansion over there. They're not contingent on each other whatsoever, but it is something to think about. I would think about these as two separate opportunities. You don't have to do, this is the Westgate, the next slide is Garfield. You could do one or the other. You don't have to do them both. You would be giving up some ground at both of them. That's something to think about. Community impact at both of them is something to think about. You'll see on the Garfield one, it's on the existing baseball field. Most of the time, financially, these solar PPAs make a ton of sense. If it didn't, I wouldn't show it to you. It's all the other impacts, community, playground, green space up there at Westgate. Those are the things that usually are the hurdles that boards have to kind of consider. So again, not to say that you couldn't do this down the road. And just to remind everybody, this is what's shown as a PPA, power purchase agreement, $0 up front. You don't own the system, you don't maintain the system. You basically purchase your power from the field, similarly to who you brokered with now. You know,
For electric.
for electric. You're just straight through Penelec right now. But similar to how you could broker through a third-party electrical supplier right now, and you sign a 1 to 3 year agreement. It's a similar situation, just a much longer term, and you give up some of your space. Any questions on that specifically? Again, somewhat related, but you can certainly do one without the other. Throughout kind of all three of these options: Westgate, Garfield Solar, and any of the Garfield renovations that we talked about. Go ahead. So yeah, this is just the last one. So again, looking at that Garfield option, Garfield utilizing the middle school, and then the power purchase agreement at Garfield and West Side, I would consider these three things, three topics to discuss, three topics to vote on, not one. That makes sense? Any questions on anything? All right, that's all I got. Appreciate your time for sure. If anything comes up, let me know. We can talk about it. Yeah, and again, I appreciate your time, and not to sound like it's a pressured situation, but September of next year in terms of construction comes very quickly, right? So we think that this is the best path forward, both financially, functionally, and on the timeline as well. All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you
Joe,
very
is
much.
there a time that they cannot surpass? Meaning, you're
To
not,
get kids in there for
Yeah.
September.
correct, you're not gonna be doing a lot of the construction piece. So
Yeah, so if we haven't started that demo and abatement, I would say February at the absolute latest. The problem with that is it is gonna increase cost, because if we have to wait till that long, we have to throw additional resources at it, meaning more manpower, more time. It's gonna cost more money to do it that way. One thing we didn't talk about that we kind of had mentioned before was some of the scrap items over there. We want to talk about that, or?
Sure.
So if you've been through the school in the current condition, a lot of old desks and things like that, some of it may have some minor auction value. The scrap metal always has some scrap value. And then there's a lot of things that we would just consider trash, debris, right? That's something that could happen immediately, because a lot of scrappers are willing to go in there and get that stuff out of there for the scrap value. If that's something that the district would be interested in, I have a few options, people who would kind of do that and not look for a cost, they would look for the scrap value in that. Then the other option would be if you leave it alone, and we come in and get that stuff out of there. We have to put some labor to get the stuff out of there, but the district would get the scrap value. It's not gonna be a lot, it's generally $200 to $300 per 30-foot roll-off. Doesn't add up to a whole lot for the district in that regard. I guess there's a third option. Your internal staff could get it out there too. Same thing, district would get that money for the scrap value. But those are things that we could help out with soon, before a contract, before an amendment of any kind for that first phase, if the board would be interested in that. Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Vice President Murray, are you okay with continuing with
Yep.
presentations? All right, so we're going to continue tonight's meeting with our presentations. We have a 10-year award for one of our middle school teachers who's here. Gail Matthews is a teacher at Johnstown Middle School, and she is here with her daughter. And we want to congratulate Gail. Gail Matthews has been certified, and this will be for the board to vote on this evening. Highly recommended that we move Gail forward in the process, and that she has been awarded tenure as a teacher at the Greater Johnstown School District. So congratulations. This has been long coming, hasn't it? You've been with us for a very long time, always loyal, always committed to the school district, and we really appreciate that. So thank you so much for your commitment. Thank you for coming. You're welcome. You're welcome. We have a couple, we have a few. We have a few Trojan Pride Awards that I would like to present this evening. The first Trojan Pride Award is going to be given to Liz McGregor. Liz is here. She is one of our folks from our partnership with Communities in Schools of Pennsylvania. Liz is walking with a boot on her foot and still made it. Congratulations, Liz. Let me get you your Trojan Pride Award. Liz is one of the re-engagement specialists that we have in the school district. And maybe I should get you the right one. I just grabbed the wrong one. Liz has done a fantastic job working with one of our biggest priorities with our comprehensive plan for the next few years, and that is attendance of our students. Liz has joined the staff at the elementary school and just really embraced that work. I see Will Webster, her immediate supervisor for communities and schools is here. So congratulations, thank you for your commitment to ensuring that our students get to school and eliminating the barriers for elementary students, especially that just can't walk to school or drive to school like our older children can. So thank you very much. We appreciate your commitment. Our next Trojan Pride Award is given to Gina Magistra. Gina is an English teacher at Johnstown High School, and although she's an amazing English teacher, the Trojan Pride Award, do you even know why?
No.
The Trojan Pride Award is your relentless pursuit of connecting kids to what makes Johnstown High School the best place it can be. Whenever I have superintendent groups with students at the high school, Gina does a fantastic job getting all the kids together so that we can talk about opportunities. And just this year, in a very short period of time, put together our first, I say first because this will be many to come, our first annual resource fair where the students had a great idea saying we should have a resource fair so all of our students are aware of all of the opportunities that exist at Johnstown High School. Sometimes our kids come to school and they have blinders on and they come to school just to do the schoolwork and they don't always recognize all of the opportunities that are presented to them. So the students said, hey, let's do this, and you supported them 110% and supported me too with the work where I'm able to connect with the kids at our high school. So
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And then our final Trojan Pride Award tonight goes to Mr. Justin Roberts. He is a teacher, special education teacher at Johnstown High School. And Justin is getting this award for two overarching reasons. First of all, he's a fantastic teacher, but I want to recognize him specifically because he's that guy. When I need something extra done at the high school, I know I can count on Justin. So over the summer, I called on Justin and said we could really use some additional math tutors to support our students' success in credit recovery. And he said, sure, I can do that for you. So I know Justin goes to the high school, he helps support our kids in credit recovery. But it didn't stop there. We are having some issues with our students leaving the high school campus after they arrived at school and going over to Sheets and then coming back to the high school, obviously with bags of food and drinks. And I said to Justin, could you do me a favor, since you're already coming to do morning duty, could you do bridge patrol for us? And he said, absolutely, I can do that for the high school. And then he had a really good idea. He said, well, what if the kids don't listen? And I don't know all the kids. And then he said, I'll take a picture of them and then I can capture them and share their image with administration, who can then reach out to the kids and have a further discussion, reach out to their families as well. And the good news is you've been
Pretty successful.
Yes, you have. So almost zero kids are, so, you know, you're like Billy Goat's Gruff, right? You stand at the bridge and make sure the kids, so congratulations, Justin.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Justin brought his wife and his mom, and his wife Karen, his mom Marlene, and many of you may remember Marlene is a retired Greater Johnstown High School teacher. She worked for the district for many, many years, and we're just proud that her son has followed in her footsteps to be a great Trojan, always doing that little bit extra. So thank you for raising a great kid, Marlene. So that concludes my presentations for tonight's meeting. I did not see Kason and Mr. Johns in the audience. That was another.
Kason had to work.
Oh, okay, well, I understand that. And then we also have Nalani Tysinger, who is our student representative, for the second time already. Thank you. You must have had a good time the first time you came back. So thank you for presenting all the wonderful things going on at Johnstown High School.
Hello everyone, my name is Nalani Tysinger, and I'm reporting our October board report. So our senior class has celebrated their Homecoming Spirit Week from September 29th to October 3rd. We're also starting a prom fundraiser kickoff on October 9th. Our Homecoming Spirit Week themes were Country versus Country Club, which was my favorite, Safari, Dressed Like a Kindergartner, New Money versus Old Money, and Extreme Trojan Pride. Our Homecoming Court Queen candidates were Peyton Murray, Zayana Thomas, Kalia Ward, Cass Hardison, Zanaya Reed, Nalani Tysinger, and Sayana Harris-Hay. Our King candidates were Blajon Taylor, Messiah Armstrong, Bryce Ganey, Manny Hill, Maurice Taylor, Daniel Porter, and Xavier Rose. Our Homecoming King and Queen were Peyton Murray and Messiah Armstrong. Over 300 students attended the homecoming dance on Saturday, October 4th at the Pastorilla Conference Center. Our Park Avenue School organized their own homecoming festivities through earned rewards as well. Our Key Club held its first meeting this year on September 18th. Registration is currently open and we have over 60 members signed up so far.
Wow.
Members of the group volunteered at the Veterans Leadership Program's monthly food distribution on September 29th. Volunteers packed and distributed food shares to hundreds of local veterans in need. Avidum had their JES assembly, and their Out of the Darkness walk. They're also celebrating 10 years of Avidum. Some club info is the JHS Scholastic Squiz team had their season opener versus Richland and they won. Our National Honor Society's members are working on completing service hours for this school year. And our SWIBIS club will hold an outdoor attendance reward on October 7th for students who have missed 0 days or 1 day of school this year so far. We will host our Q1 movie on Thursday, October 30th.
Do we know the movie yet?
No, not yet. I think we're all gonna vote.
Okay.
Yeah,
Halloween type movie, you think?
probably.
Okay.
I can see it. Theater Club has begun practice for our fall play, Beth. Our performances will be Friday, November 7th at 7 p.m. and Saturday, November 8th at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. Miss Magistro's Key Club, along with Mr. McKessick, organized a club/resource fair for the students and all opportunities that JHS has to offer. The GJHS marching band is off to a great start in their competitive season. The band would like to thank administration for working with Conemaugh Township to host their competition at the Trojan Stadium. We will host our annual Trojan Marching Classic on Saturday, beginning at 5 p.m. in the Trojan Stadium. Our bi-yearly Halloween concert is scheduled for Sunday, October 26th at 3 p.m. for the symphony band, orchestra, and chorale.
Have a great night, everyone.
We just have one more quick announcement. So we added this late, but Brielle Lee is one of our students that went to the Keystone Challenge Academy. She's currently there. She got to speak at the Senate Veterans Affairs and Emergency Procedures Committee in front of the state Senate on Tuesday, September 30th. So she was selected from all the cadets. I have 77 cadets now at the program, and she was the one selected to go speak. So very proud of it. She's doing really well. So.
That's awesome. That concludes tonight's presentations. Now we'll get into the rest of our agenda. So this is a good time for folks to leave if they want to say good night and enjoy the rest of their evening. Thanks for coming. Thank you for coming. Bye-bye.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Hey, good to see you.
How are you?
You okay? Okay. All right, we're ready for the rest of the meeting.
You don't have to.
You're welcome.
We don't have any hearing of citizens.
What?
We don't need to go to executive session.
What? I locked the door.
That's right. Thank you.
The approval of minutes for the regular board meeting, September 2nd, 2025.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Or no, you don't need that. Okay, I don't have a president's report, the superintendent's report.
Just a few things. I appreciate the update on the state budget, and that really is just what is causing some of us to lose sleep at night. Could you imagine if we just said we weren't starting school until the state budget was passed and we knew what the money and what the dollars were that were coming to our school district, right? We're asked to do a lot of things kind of backwards. And, I think just because traditionally that's what's always been done, not for any good reason. So, continuing to have conversations with Senator Langerhold, Representative Burns, clear communication with those folks. They're keeping me up to date. I'm continuing to let them know the impact that this impasse continues to have on the school district, and as much as we will need to look to borrow money, take out a line item of credit to make payroll. We can't have school if we don't have people working here. Our payroll is almost $1 million every 2 weeks, so it's a substantial amount of money. Our business manager, Mr. Butchko, has done a great job connecting with local banks, ensuring that we are getting the best rate. The next issue I would like to bring up to the board members is we are looking to move our school board meetings to our new place at Pascarella Plaza down in the Crown American building. That new space with the expansion of the space for the board room probably will be ready December for our first board meeting. But what I was wondering if we could discuss and decide how we want to move forward on this, instead of having a final meeting in December in the new space, advertising with the change, we would reorg in December. Could we then just begin all of our meetings for the upcoming new year in our new space? We would then have the dates, the location, and we wouldn't have to change what currently is out there in the public, and we would just develop that meeting site and times and dates at the reorg meeting and start our meetings January in our new space. Does that seem like any objection to that?
Nope.
So do we need a motion or anything?
I don't think so. It's
We
just,
don't, we already advertised, we're gonna be here, so it actually would cost money to advertise again to change the location. Actually saves money.
and then, just, you'll be getting an invitation here relatively soon. We will be having our annual Veterans Day breakfast at Johnstown Middle School. The preparation and planning has already started for that. That will be on November 6th. So please mark your calendars. Like I said, I will be sending an official invitation to all of you, but we look forward to hosting and toasting our veterans each and every year with that generational activity between our students and the members of our armed forces. So proud of that event, and it's always a really good time attended by many, many people. So November 6th, mark your calendars for that. And that concludes my superintendent report. Thank you, Mrs. Murray.
Thank you, Dr. Curio. And the board secretary report? An executive session was held prior to this meeting from 4:05 to 5:06. Personnel matters regarding candidates for the positions listed on the agenda. 2 contracted employees, the technology program, and SPO. 3 Act 93 employees, potential professional grievance, safety, security matter, contractual matter regarding the teacher's contract. That concludes my report, Madam President. Thank you, or Vice President. I elevated you. Yeah, the solicitor's report?
I have nothing other than to add that some of the items here we may have to table just because we only have 5 members. If a member has to recuse themselves, we just don't have enough to carry the vote. So it's not due to anything else other than we just don't have the 5 votes. So that's it, Madam Vice President. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And the approval of the treasurer's report month ending August 2025, motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? So we go into our reports and resolutions. Staff here yet? Tom,
C 425.
motion?
Motion. Second.
Any questions? All in favor? Okay, the education committee, Mike, you're gonna take that?
Yeah, E3625 to E5225.
Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye. E5325, A through E and G through M.
Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
can we bring F back to the board in November for approval? And we can, I guess, assume that Mr. Beatty will attend the conference and it will be approved at a later date, correct? We're good with that? Okay, thank you.
E53, F. Move to table E53F.
Okay, motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
E54,
Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, personnel and negotiations, Bruce, you're gonna handle that.
Yep. PN 14025 to PN 14425.
Motion?
Motion.
second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
We're gonna table PN 145.
Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
PN 146, that Samantha George be appointed to the position of floating substitute teacher at Johnstown High School, contingent with all contingencies as listed.
Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Alright. PN 147,
Motion?
Motion. Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
PM 148, that the individuals appointed to the following supplemental positions contingent upon personnel personnel office receive all necessary payroll forms and clearances documents with all contingencies as listed. Musical organization, band, orchestra, and chorale, 2025-2026 school year, JMS band director Dan Myers and JMS choral director Dan Myers. Miscellaneous organization, JHS Scholastic Quiz Co-Advisor Nancy Behe, JHS Scholastic Quiz Co-Advisor Melissa Johnson, JMS Reading Competition Advisor Ashley Albright.
Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye. PN 149. PN 149.
Motion.
Motion. Second.
Madam Vice President,
PM 150,
I think we're just doing 49.
right, 141.
Oh, I'm sorry. Motion? Okay, we're done. Okay. Sorry.
We
Need a vote.
need to vote.
Oh, okay. Roll call.
No.
Oh, all in favor, I'm sorry.
Aye. All right, PN 150, the following individuals be appointed as 2025-2026 cyber school teachers at a stipend of $9,000 for the first course plus an additional $3,000 for an additional course assignments will not exceed 2 cyber courses contingent upon all contingencies listed. A, ELA, Emily LeBron. B, Mathematics, Stephanie Hoover. And C and D will be tabled.
Need a motion for A and B.
Oh, sorry.
separately.
Motion,
Motion.
second.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye. And B, Mathematics, Stephanie Hoover.
Motion,
Motion.
second. Any questions?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And C and D be tabled.
Yes.
Motion,
Motion.
Second.
any questions? All in favor?
Aye. PN 151 and PN 152.
Motion,
Motion.
Second.
any questions? All in favor?
Aye. PN 153, that Daniel Miller be appointed to the position of maintenance heavy-duty cleaner at the Johnstown Elementary School with all contingencies as listed.
Motion,
Motion.
Second.
any questions? All in favor?
Aye. PN 154 to PN 160.
Motion,
Motion.
any questions? All in favor?
Aye. PN 161, that Teresa Elliott be appointed to the position of paraprofessional, special education, regular education, personal care assistant at Johnstown Elementary School, contingent with all contingencies listed.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye. PN 162.
Motion,
Motion.
Second.
any questions? All in favor?
Aye. PN 163, that Tiffany Daniels be appointed to the position of paraprofessional, special education, regular education, personal care assistant at Johnstown High School, contingent with all contingencies listed.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
any questions? All in favor?
Aye. PN 164, that Kimberly Bell be appointed to the position of paraprofessional, special education, regular education, personal care assistant at Johnstown Elementary School with all contingencies listed.
Motion. Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye. PN 165, that Sydney Solonsky be appointed to the position of paraprofessional, special education, regular education, personal care assistant at Johnstown Middle School with all contingencies as listed.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye. PN 166 to PN 170.
Motion,
Motion.
Second.
any questions? All in favor?
Aye. PN 171. Do I need to read off the corrections that we made?
Yes.
That the the employment contract between the district and Sarah Bucci pertaining to her appointment to the position of part-time speech and language teacher effective September 16, 2025 through June 30th, 2026 at the prorated salary of $75,281 divided to an hourly rate as pursuant to, with all contingencies as listed. See attachment P2.
Motion?
Motion.
Second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye. PN 172.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye. PN 173, that Chris Swartz be appointed to the contracted position of part-time school police officer at an hourly rate of $25 with all contingencies as listed.
Motion?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye. PN 174, that Quintine Robinson be appointed to a contracted position of behavior intervention specialist at Park Avenue School with all contingencies as listed, with the district at a salary of $48,000 for 1 year term, effective date to be determined by the administration.
Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye. PN 175,
You will need,
You have to read
you'll
it.
have to read those.
okay, sorry. PN 175, that the following position description be approved. See attachment PN 4, reading and math facilitator.
Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye. PN 176, that Tiffany Shank be appointed to the position of paraprofessional, special education, regular education, personal care assistant at Johnstown Elementary School with all contingencies as listed.
Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye. Madam Vice President, that is mine.
Thank you. Athletics and student activities will be covered by Randy.
AS 1725 through AS 1925.
Motion?
Motion. Oh, I'm sorry, it's AS 20 on the back, 25 on the back.
Motion?
Motion.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and Budget and Finance Committee, Mike.
BF 1425, the general funds bills in the amount of $3,090,492.44 for August 25 be approved as submitted.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
BF 1525, that the following refunds for exemption overpayment of school real estate taxes be approved.
Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
BF 1625,
Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
And Buildings and Operations, Randy.
BO
Oh,
6,
excuse me, there was a newly printed sheet at your place, Budget and Finance. It has BF 17 on it.
BO 17?
Yeah. There's a BF 17. It's at your place.
BF 1725, that the settlement agreement between the district and 1910 Minnow Drive, Johnstown, PA be approved.
Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Building and Operations, Randy.
BO 1625 and BO 1725.
Motion?
Motion.
Second. Any questions? All in favor?
Does BO 17 need corrected in any way?
Yes, there's a typo in BO 1725 that needs to be read.
It's at elementary.
Mhm.
Can you repeat that, Doc? I didn't hear what
BO 1725, there's a typo. It should be changed from Johnstown Elementary to Johnstown High School. Thank you, sir.
That Miller Sports Construction Coach Stores vendor be awarded the quote to screen and coat the gymnasium for Johnstown High High School at a cost not to exceed $8,350. See attachment B02.
Motion,
Motion.
second,
Second.
any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
BO 1825, that Higher Information Group be awarded contract for scanning educational, business, and personnel files at a cost not to exceed $10,000. See attachment BO3.
Motion,
Motion.
second,
Second.
any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
You need
A motion?
Motion.
Second?
You're in a hurry.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you, Bruce.
Yes, sir.
How's it going?
Hey, how are you? Glad you could make it. I looked at your test and I was like, oh, maybe I got an answer here. I know, they're thinking you were there to report on the traffic, right?